there is a gap between what our students need in this digitally connected age and traditional best practice, and it is vast. Now, the good news is a path exists to move forward and get our kids real world ready. Let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever approached a child with arms wide open and said, "I love you this much"? Okay? Me too. And when we say that, whether our kids are in the streets blowing bubbles or in our classrooms reading, we mean it to the core of our being. It is who we are, and that's a good thing. Okay? Education has traditionally been a labor of love, and relationships are foundational. They matter so much. However, relationships alone are insufficient. Our kids are counting on us to usher in a new learning paradigm because they are in the middle of a communication revolution. Case in point, my daughter recently texted my wife and I a selfie, and at the bottom of this picture, it said, "Mom and Dad, I lost a tooth." And our immediate response was of wonderment, thinking, what, you couldn't just walk downstairs and earn your money, right? I mean, come on. But upon further review and reflection, she was only connecting in a way that is natural to her. So that the onus is on us. We have to embrace a connected pedagogy so that there is a congruence between kids' real, actual lives and the student learning experience at school. Some might think that this is pie in the sky, icing on the cake. I got news for you. It's not. Now, my college psychology professor would be really proud of me right now. He'd be surprised. I'm busting out Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Never thought that would happen. But here it is. I needed proof. I needed to drive that home. Their safety and security is depending on us to help them connect responsibly. We are absolutely kidding ourselves if we think the first time a student should learn how to communicate online or send a tweet is in high school or college. Their digital footprints are being forged right now, and it will impact employment opportunities in the future, their ability to procure resources and charitably contribute in society. It will impact them. We've got to get in the game. Now, one of my earlier attempts at home to get in the game was with Clash of the Clans. Do you know what that is? Do you know what this is? Yeah! Will you join my clan? But I digress. Okay, so I'm sitting with my kids. We're playing Clash of the Clans, and as a dad, I can appreciate what Brad shared earlier. It's really cool to interact and build those relationships with your kids. And then one day, I asked my daughter, who's playing, "What's your username?" And she tells me her real name, and I wince. And then I ask, "What clan did you join?" And she tells me, "Russian men." Russian men! Okay, before you submit your Father of the Year nominations for me, just hold on. And I will confess, somebody said, "Brad, you can't tell that story." I'm telling it to you because these early failures really do matter. The time for kids to fail for the first time is not in high school and college when it's more pronounced and their level of independence is greater. We have to build that capacity and have them have those conversations with us in a safe and scaffolded environment. It is critical. We have to get in the game. Now, I should probably hit the point of that. Our family is in a much better place. My kids are in a much better place because of that failure and the fact that we're in the game. And the same thing can happen at school. We can begin to empower our kids by building these skills at a very early age. And I have an example here. Many amazing, inspiring teachers at our school, supreme difference makers for kids. These fifth graders created their own project-based learning blog for an authentic audience. It was an authentic task. I remember sitting in meetings with our district technology integrationist, myself, the principal, their teacher. You know who was driving those meetings? Those three kids. I remember winter Christmas breaks collaborating asynchronously with them on a Google Docs as they were developing permission slips in case kids from across the planet, quite frankly, wanted to participate with them in this. Okay, that is true empowerment. And I'm so proud. It started with a teacher who believed in his kids and started to cultivate skills like communication, creativity, critical thinking. You can't tell me that those kids aren't on their way to being real world ready. Now, we talked a little bit about the authentic task that they had, and it was very real to them. This concept of an authentic audience, we should never, never underestimate the impact of an authentic audience for a child. So take this traditional best practice that we're talking about. We had some teachers have kids do their persuasive essays. Okay, raise your hand if you remember one of those in school. Now keep your hand up if you loved that experience. Okay, sure, there was some character building and stuff like that, and it's good. These writing skills are good. But what I love about skills for a digital age is our teachers didn't stop there. They didn't stop with the essay. The next step to this project was having the kids convert them using some cutting-edge technology into a rap. And it wasn't just chanting the words. I mean, this was a CD, or I guess it's iTunes now. I would download the music they were producing. The coolest thing is the teacher could email parents the URL. Grandma, grandpa, they would be part of it. The teachers were developing kids as finishers. Even our most reluctant learners, kids with maybe lower readiness levels, were wanting to finish their persuasive essays so that they could be in the game and create these raps for their families. Now, there are an abundance of tools out there, and we don't need to master them all, but we cannot ignore them all either. Our kids are counting on us. If we really love them this much, we will embrace the learning mindset. I remember last year, our school piloted a hashtag, and it's alive and well now. It's GW Greats, if you ever want to look it up on Twitter. And I remember scrolling through after work one day, feeling like I have a pretty good pulse of the building, and then I came across a tweet on our school hashtag, and it was an octopus that our first graders were studying. And I was thinking, how did we get an octopus in this building without me knowing about it? How does that happen, okay? It was the coolest thing. Now imagine how dinner time conversations can be ignited by leveraging a 21st century tool as simple as the hashtag. Talk about changing the dynamics of a dinner time conversation. The question probably becomes, because the value is there for our kids, when do we start? When do we do it? And I have news for us all. Emphatically, the time is now. It is right now. Our kids only get one kindergarten year. They only get one first grade. They only get one second grade. And we cannot deprive them of these tools and experiences. Our youngest learners are so capable when working alongside caring and dedicated teachers. These kindergartners created voice threads so they could share their reading fluency with their parents. And who's doing the teaching now? And are those kindergartners going to be real world ready? You better believe it. We are working really hard on this, okay? Our commitment now, and the reason we have to start today, is that what we do today will impact generations. Because as I indicated earlier, these kindergartners will become first graders, and eventually they will graduate, and they will change the world. Now, this Twitter is maybe the most analyzed tool out there, and it's so easy to ban, okay? Just ban it, done deal. But we can't do that. We need to cultivate the skills and build kids' capacity. If for nothing more, their stories need to be told. The media can tell its own narrative, whatever it wants. But now, administrators, teachers, parents, we have the right and ability to share what's really happening in our schools. This is a district cross-country run, and you can see that the parent paparazzis were out in full force. It was the coolest energy. I mean, it was like a carnival, and it was awesome. However, one of our Greenwood kiddos finished ahead of most, circled back, and was leaning over the sideline tape, congratulating peers, cheering them on. Kids she didn't recognize, kids she recognized. Talk about great character. And what story as a principal do I want to tell? Those are the stories. What we give time to is what we love. We give time to talking about kids' character. Twitter helps us do that. We need to come to the realization that this is a tool that can make a difference in our culture, in our school's culture, the ethos. Now, entry points are everywhere. I alluded to that earlier. There are lots of tools out there, and we don't need to know them all. And the good news is we don't need a megaphone or a microphone to amplify student voice, okay? TouchCast is an app that we use for podcasting for kids, and we have shifted from the principal writing a very lengthy newsletter to parents, and them maybe reading it, maybe not, to kids telling our school's story. Giving even assessment updates. That's great too. But we're building these digital skills. We're helping them learn how to communicate authentically. We're doing working lunches on a regular basis with the kids, and they are delivering, and parents are actually quoting some things that their kids are saying. They didn't used to quote my newsletters. Take this a step further. Anyone ever have a child come home with a worksheet and say, proudly proclaim, "This worksheet helps me understand the world, and I have a global awareness"? That doesn't happen either. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about a worksheet. The squiggle concept, you take a worksheet and you draw a squiggle on it, make 30 copies. Each child in the room turns it into whatever they want. Okay, that's pretty cool. We had our podcasters collaborate across the country with schools, and they created a podcast, and everyone had the same squiggle. And the artwork was amazing. We put it out on everywhere, okay? When we get kids connecting, they win. And sometimes it's a literal win, because our kids, along with kids in New Jersey and New York, won an award from TouchCast. It was Best Educast. So quite literally, kids win when we do this stuff. Also, the hashtags do connect. We posted there so that others could enter into this. It just wasn't our thing, but this is an interactive thing, an opportunity. We had a school from Italy send us a newspaper article. Now, I couldn't read it because I'm not Italian, but I did recognize my name and our school name in that article. This was a global thing. So let me ask you, is Twitter and is the hashtag an unnecessary extra, or can it make a difference for student learning? Generating kid wins is what our school is all about. Genius Hour is one example of that. I was walking through the media center one day, and this young man was involved in Genius or Passion Time. He had created his own website, had some guitar chords, and you can see, I think in the morning, he probably wasn't battling his parents to not come to school. Safe to say? Then I go down a few computers, and I see a young lady doing some neuroscience research. And I have to admit, I was skeptical at first because I didn't understand half the words on the computer screen. But I probed, like any good principal would do, and she corrected me. And she told me she wanted to be a neuroscientist, and she even slid over to the presentation she had on the other screen. And I was amazed. And she was in the center of her passion and genius, and I'm thankful we have teachers at our school that recognize that. They are inspiring our kids. We've got to be kidding ourselves if we think that we can raise the next generation of inventors, engineers, artists, and so on, if we don't give them the cutting-edge tools that we have at our disposal right now. Why would we hold back? Augmented reality is one tool that our school is using. I like to think it's cutting edge, and I would say it's comparable to Monday Night Football or NFL football, where you look at the first down line, and in the real game, they don't have that purple line. But on TV, they do, and it helps me understand how far they need to go to get that first down. That's kind of like augmented reality. Well, picture these construction paper televisions. And you hold a device up loaded with augmented reality technology, and it takes you into the screen to a student video, a current event channel where kids are creating the current events. They're doing the research and producing. They're not just reading about the current events. Let me tell you something. Current events have never been so current, and our kids have never been as engaged. These are tools that we have to seek out for our kids. Some things have not changed, so I'm not here to slight traditional best practice. That's not my intent. Constructivism has been around a really long time, and I'm glad it has, but we have new tools. The 3Doodler pen, it's a 3D printing pen, and literally you can draw in the air and create. You could draw the Statue of Liberty and literally make it. I believe someone has actually made a car, okay? Not at our school. How cool is that? This young man was studying the art of Alexander Calder, the mobile art, and his teacher had him do that. These are examples of the path that we can get on with kids. Another example, flipped instruction. The main goal of flipped instruction is maximizing face-to-face time. So kids are collaborating together, communicating authentically, and developing these real-world skills. We don't need them popcorn reading in class, okay? We don't need that. They can be collaborating so that they're ready to change the world. Another really neat example, every year at our school now, we have a staff versus students basketball game, and the energy is palpable. I love it. I'm the student coach, and I like that too. The kids came up this year with power cards, and the audience would choose a number, choose a card, and then the teachers would have some sort of penalty, like having to wear mittens or gloves for a quarter. And you can imagine that'd be difficult to shoot a basketball. Okay, it's hard enough as it is. Now, at halftime, we had a character assembly where we honored and recognized student character and good decision-making and community, and that was very cool too. The most important thing from that whole basketball game was that our parents were right in the middle of it via a live stream feed using Ustream. We had 126 parents that couldn't join us from work, and they got to see their kids earn the awards, participate in the game, and understand what matters in our school. The refrigerator is changing. I remember the pinnacle of my youth, taking a spelling test home, and my mom is here today. Thanks, Mom. She would hang that on the fridge, 10 out of 10. Yes, I had arrived as a kid. Things are different now. Okay, not that the refrigerator doesn't matter, but our kids are motivated by other things. They really get excited by creating things, showing their learning, and having a teacher post to a YouTube channel, for example. This is our art teacher has this museum quality augmented reality gallery. So framed prints that rotate out over the course of the year. Student videos, if you hold up your device again and just look, they launch into students giving metacognitive talks, talking about their design process. This is higher level learning. This is the stuff that we need to give our kids. It's not just about that final product. Okay? The refrigerator has changed, and fortunately, we have the tools right now to help kids learn outside the lines. So, our kids are counting on us. Our kids are counting on us to love them with arms wide open. And we will, because we always have. But we also have to develop these skills like creating, the critical thinking, giving them the cutting edge tools in a safe, scaffolded environment, helping them connect responsibly, giving them that authentic audience so that they can change the world.